The women's narratives are about like, oh, Betty did really well today. And they're not so concerned with the idea of conquer, which I think is kind of, I don't think it's a man idea, but I think it's a male idea. This book is about my 22-year-old self. It's definitely my 42-year-old self looking back on my 22-year-old self. But my 22-year-old self had huge issues with the male gaze and how she looked to men, and it would sort of fall away until she would come across a cute young man on the trail, and then it would be all over again. They always say if you want to come home alive, bring a woman, because by demographic there are many more backcountry deaths, avalanches and stuff with men than with women. I went on the hike with two other women, Erica and Deanna, and Deanna had a severe eating disorder. I think men can get away from their bodies more than women can out in the wilderness because we, menstruate, and we're always wondering how we sort of look,
You can't escape a physicality.
No, in the way that I think men can. So I was sort of pleased that this book that's not necessarily about death-defying things came in and won the National Outdoor Book Award with a book that was like that. And so I'd never done a through hike, I'd never done, consecutive days of 10 and 12 miles. I'd never carried a backpack that heavy. When we would go and we'd go to Lake Edison and we'd finally go to a restaurant and I'd binge, because that's what you do when you're backpacking, right? You have the most ridiculous, breakfast ever. And I think, am I binging? Is this inappropriate amount of food? And we ran out of food for 3 days. It was about 60. Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because the girlfriends of mine who are gay don't have the same fears of men in the wilderness as straight women, because they're not so in tune to being watched and being sexualized. And
doesn't mean they don't want to hear.
Well, it's all that straight women think about. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can write about this stuff. It's like it gave me permission, and I'm hoping that my book will give young women writers permission to write their own stories and write their own books. And we're seeing a lot more women's, I think, books coming out about, women going alone. Look at the success of Wild. In recent trips, I have done trips with just women, and I've done trips with men and women, but I don't know, I think I choose the men really wisely, because I choose really nice men that it doesn't feel like they're trying to dominate. And I think for me and many women, it's more about community. Well, I think we are always constantly redefining ourselves. And I think for me, now I'm getting to the point of being a middle-aged woman, and it's really important to me to age in a way that doesn't get caught up with the, how I look, or if I don't look young anymore, or that kind of thing. Because some of my friends are getting, Botox and all that kinds of stuff. Yeah. And I think being someone who appreciates and enjoys the outdoors helps a lot with that. Because, I skied all day today. I don't think once about what I look like.